Have you ever looked at a really successful company, or even just a person, and wondered, how do they know exactly where they're going? Well, it's not magic, and it's not luck. It's a blueprint. Today, we're going to break down the two essential tools that are the foundation of any great strategy: SWOT analysis and strategic roadmaps. You know, this quote from Dwight D. Eisenhower just hits the nail on the head. It's not about having some rigid, dusty plan sitting on a shelf somewhere. Nope. The real value, the gold, is in the process of planning itself. The thinking, the analyzing, and the constant adjusting. That's what gets you ready for pretty much whatever comes your way. And that really brings us to the big question, right? The future is totally uncertain. So how on earth are you supposed to chart a course? Well, the answer is all about building a solid foundation of understanding and then creating a flexible guide for the journey. And that's exactly the toolkit we're diving into right now. Okay, our first tool is the absolute cornerstone of any kind of strategic thinking. It's the SWOT analysis. Think about it. Before you can figure out where you're going, you have to know with some brutal honesty exactly where you're standing right now. This is how you get that clarity. So what is a SWOT analysis? Simply put, it's a framework for identifying your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And the really crucial part here is that it forces you to look both inward at your own team or company and outward at the big, wide world around you. A common trap people fall into is being way too generic. Trust me, the more specific you get, the more powerful your insights will be. The whole thing is built on a super simple 2x2 grid. On the top half, you've got your internal factors. These are the things you can actually control, your strengths and your weaknesses. Then on the bottom half, you have the external factors, the stuff you can't control but absolutely have to respond to, opportunities and threats. So let's break that down. Strengths are basically your internal superpowers. What do you do better than anybody else? Maybe it's a crazy talented team, a brand that everyone knows and trusts, or some kind of special technology. These are the things you've got to leverage. Next up, weaknesses. And for a lot of us, this is the hardest part. It takes some real humility to look in the mirror and identify what's holding you back. Maybe your tech is lagging, or you have a huge skills gap on your team. But here's the thing, you can't fix a problem you refuse to even see. All right, now we're shifting our gaze to the outside world, starting with opportunities. Think of these as the favorable winds blowing out there in the market. Is there a new technology you could grab onto? A new group of customers that nobody's paying attention to? These are the doors that are swinging open for you. And finally, you've got threats. These are the storms brewing on the horizon. Things like a recession, new competitors popping up, or changing government rules. The key is to spot these early. It lets you build defenses instead of getting caught totally by surprise. And sometimes, if you're smart about it, a threat can even be flipped into an opportunity. Okay, so you've done your SWOT analysis. You have this incredible, clear-eyed view of your reality. Now what? You can't just stare at the map, right? You have to actually plot a course. And that brings us to our second, equally important tool, the strategic roadmap. A roadmap is what turns all that great analysis into real action. It's a high-level visual guide that shows where you're going and the major stops you need to make along the way. But here's the secret sauce. A great roadmap is a living, breathing document. It is not set in stone. It's meant to be pulled out, looked at, and adjusted as the world changes around you. Building one really boils down to 4 clear steps. First, you've got to define your ultimate destination. That's your vision. Then, you break that big journey down into tangible goals. From there, you outline the specific milestones to hit. And finally, and this is the step where so many plans fall apart, you assign clear responsibility. Without someone owning each piece, a roadmap is just a pretty picture. And your vision can't be some vague, fuzzy idea. It needs to be a clear, inspiring statement of where you want to be in the long run. Look at this example. Become the leading provider of sustainable energy solutions by 2030. See? It's bold, it's specific, and it has a deadline. That is a North Star you can actually navigate by. And this is how you make that giant vision feel totally achievable. You chop it up into concrete pieces. So, in year 1, it's a product launch. By year 3, you're aiming for a specific chunk of the market. And by year 5, you're going global. All of a sudden, that huge 2030 vision feels like a series of manageable, doable steps. Now we get to the most important part. These are not 2 separate exercises you do on different days. The real magic happens when you combine them. A SWOT analysis without a roadmap is just an interesting thought exercise that goes nowhere. And a roadmap without a solid SWOT is, well, it's just wishful thinking.
This is where it all clicks into place. Let's say your SWOT analysis uncovers a massive opportunity in emerging markets. That's a powerful insight, but the roadmap is what makes it real. It turns that insight into a concrete, time-bound action. Expand to 3 new continents within 5 years. You see? It's the direct line connecting insight to action.
Of course, even the absolute best blueprint is going to face some challenges during construction. That's just reality. Acknowledging these potential hurdles right from the start is the key to actually navigating them and turning your beautiful plan into something real. And you'll almost certainly run into some of these. Maybe you don't have enough data to do a perfect SWOT, or perhaps your team is a bit resistant to a new direction, or the most common one of all, you just don't have the budget or the people to do everything you want. The key is to be aware of these things, gather the best data you can, really communicate the why behind the changes, and prioritize like your life depends on it. So there you have it. We've laid out the tools, SWOT for truly understanding your landscape, and the roadmap for charting your path right through it. When you put them together, they form an incredibly powerful blueprint for achieving just about any goal. So the only question left is the most important one. You have the blueprint. What will you build?